Welcome to Don't Everybody Leave. Say howdy to Mac King.
Howdy, I am Mac King. Welcome to Don't Everybody Leave. I'm excited. We're here this is the first time we're doing it with all in the same room, guests and everybody. It's exciting. And we're here in Vinny Grosso's house, and I'm going to bring them all out. Let's see. There'll be Vinny Grosso, and who's there? Michael Goudeau, Nick Diffatte, Jacob Jax. Oh, yeah. There we go.
You know the rule, right?
No.
There has to be something up behind me that is important to me.
Oh, you have something?
Look what I brought.
Holy shit.
This is tied right into
The camera's over there.
What's the... If only he could...
There it is, yeah. Put that behind me. My autograph, Jeff Mcbride.
And Vinny's fullest trophies are really important to me. So that's why we put them.
If they're not important to me, can you take down your foolish trophies before we start?
Hey guys.
Hey.
This is exciting. We're here at Vinny Grosso's house. I know we're touching.
Kumbaya.
Oh Lord. And we got Jeff Mcbride coming out later.
Yeah.
Cool.
The guy from the photo.
The guy from that photo.
Yeah.
So we're going to start, as we start every week, with who died since we all last got together. And Eric Carl died. You guys know Eric Carl, right?
Yeah.
I know you do because you have kids.
All the books from my childhood as well.
So yeah, there's Eric Carl.
Yeah.
Right back there.
Vinny has a nice TV.
And Vinny does have a nice TV. What's your address, Vinny? There's TVs in every room, it seems like.
Opulent.
Yeah. So this is Eric Carl, and he died, and he was one of the great children's books illustrators.
Yeah.
He did Very Hungry Cow.
Yep.
That one. And so that's like collage. Those are pieces of tissue paper that he painted and then cut out. And one of my daughter's favorite books. And probably more important to you is one of his other books.
Yeah.
Direct competition.
We even tried the audio with you speaking directly away from the microphone.
Yeah. How is this?
We should explain why that would be more important to Goudeau.
Because Michael Goudeau is a pancake artiste.
That's right.
Your book is called
Extreme Pancakes. It's available from
I
Barnes
thought you
and
were
Noble.
reaching for a
Yeah,
contest.
Yeah,
that's
no,
cool. I have one in my.
I got a cup holder in my leg.
Here's a parenthetical, bitches. Extreme pancakes, bitches. No,
Yeah.
your book is amazing. I'll put it in pictures, but it's how to make
Pancake art.
Yeah, we did
The culmination of which was Edvard Munch's The Scream.
Yeah, we created that famous
Made out of pancakes.
as a pancake.
And we did we got free meals out of your pancakes when we were in Arizona.
Oh, that's
because
right.
You made pancakes for that Greek diner guy, and he kept giving us food.
We went to a diner. We were on a gig together, and he said, "Have you ever made a Christmas tree pancake?" And the guy went, "No." And Goudeau marched back into the kitchen of the restaurant and taught the guy.
Made him a Christmas tree pancake.
And then he gave me a chicken fried steak for free.
Yeah, we had to wait for like 2 weeks.
So you traded art for heart disease.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's entirely worth it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So strangely, oddly, sadly enough, another person died. Louise Elbert.
We can't be
Louise.
laughing.
Wow.
Yeah, she died too.
Really?
Yeah.
Another illustrator.
There she is, trying to keep our voice toward the microphone. And
It's this way.
looking at Louise. Thank you. I love it when you put your hand on the back of my head. By the way.
This is my favorite show ever.
So, she was coincidentally and also a collage children's book author. And if you have kids, you're probably familiar with this, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
Yeah.
So she was an illustrator for that. She did a bunch of other kids' books, but she coincidentally died when she heard that Eric Carl had died.
It's probably something involved in the glue.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I learned the alphabet from Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
Did you?
Well, I mean, yeah, and it was written in the
Let's hear it. Well, let's hear it, smart guy. You think you still know it?
one
So
of
you
the,
didn't have parents that
during the pandemic, I've done two things. I refinished a bookcase, and I learned.
Very good. So.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it guest time?
I think it should be guest time. Well, usually this part lasts longer, but we got a great guest, and we should get him out here. And I hope when he comes out, he trips over the dog.
The goose.
And man, as we do when any of our guests have been on, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I know.
There's the
You know where this
dog.
is
I've
going.
never done this with the person.
Oh, wait! You have to follow a dog.
I'm not sure it's not the gatekeeper, Zool.
Wow. Tell everybody who this is.
This is Goose. Which
And so that's why Vinny can afford to have TVs. No one's going to come in and steal them.
Lie down.
go to bed.
Talk show. Good boy.
If it works out that the guests we have ever appeared on the World's Greatest Magic,
I've never done this with the person a foot from me.
I know. I'm so excited.
Jason's
But do you know this?
What do you
we
think?
haven't
Bro,
cleared this.
Shut up.
No, I don't want you to do it yet. I just want to know if you know.
I know it. I
Okay.
know all of them.
Okay. So every time that our guests have appeared on the World's Greatest Magic TV specials, Jacob, because he's Jacob, knows their introduction from those TV shows by heart. Because as a child, he memorized each of them.
Yes. You're not making it less embarrassing.
No, I'm trying to make it as embarrassing as possible.
You want a little Alan Thicke from World's Greatest Magic too?
Was it Alan Thicke on World's Greatest Magic?
It was 1995.
All right, and here he is reciting. Or are you going to do an Alan Thicke impression?
No. That would
No one knows what he sounds like.
That'd be offensive.
Alan Thicke.
Sounds like an old white guy.
So here he is to introduce our guest, Jacob Jax, as Alan Thicke from 1992.
95.
95. World's Greatest Magic 2.
From the ancient Chinese magician to the Native American shaman, masks have always played a part in magic. Our next magician, you didn't believe me? Our next magician took his cue from the magicians of the past. He's combined it with some of the finest sleight of hand card magic and brought the whole thing into the 90s. He recently received the coveted... Shut up.
Still there.
He
recently tripped over a dog bowl.
He recently received the coveted Magician of the Year award from the Magic Castle for the act you are about to see. Here is Jeff Mcbride. Oh my God!
Never stop.
Oh, this is the best day ever.
Thank you. I had to come in blazing.
I
hope
we
you
did.
did.
Thank you for blazing.
Desperado with cards.
Yeah.
Either you're welcome or you're sorry for recreating that.
Well, yeah. Well, you nailed the intro there.
And that's what you did. That's actually what he did on the show.
That's right.
Oh, this is the best day of my life.
Oh,
You know what's sad?
Jeff
That's true.
Jeff said to me when I walked off to get a cookie for the dog, he said, "Is the dog going to get freaked out when I shoot the cards?" And I said, No, he won't. And he didn't. But he got freaked out by all you guys clapping. He just started jumping out.
That dog's never seen happiness.
That's where I planned going in close to the thing. Kill the dog.
And Jeff is his
Get
attack
the dog.
keys.
Yeah, so I forgot about that.
Because the dog goes with you to every show, right?
No.
Oh, because I thought it would be used to silence.
Vinny, you've been studying your improv classes where when a guy does a setup, you say no and try and move on.
It's good for comedy.
Yeah.
No and
No, right?
Hey, can I just, since we're all here, can I recreate something from your act?
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Okay, you don't mind, I have to touch you.
You have to touch me?
Is that all right?
There's only
Yeah, of
one other
course.
place it could be.
Watch this.
Why did I pick this?
Let's see what we have
You don't want to see.
here. Look at that. Hey, it's Jeff McBride's hat. Wow! Put that on. Put it on. Put it on. Put it on right now.
No.
Just smell it.
Just smell it.
Oh, I'm
Matt.
gonna go home and bathe.
Unlike in your act, you need to zip back up.
How long have you had this hat in your pants?
Since Thanksgiving 2019.
2019.
Jeff left that at my house.
And he's been
Thanksgiving.
wearing it there.
Let's put past the hat.
Very popular.
Give it right back.
Very popular.
Hey,
Frisbee.
He just threw it into
Don't
the.
forget that again.
Yes.
He just threw it into the incinerator.
So when at Thanksgiving in 2019, we had a little magic show after dinner.
Those are great magic shows.
You're
He only says that because he's in it every year.
No, I rotate in and out, make space for other people.
and but the last thing you did, last bit you did, I was howling.
Yeah.
That bit with the
The
thimble.
medicine show.
yeah, the medicine
Harmonica.
show with the harmonica.
The Mustang.
And but so you got the Bob Dylan, I don't know what you call those things. Where he holds the
Harmonica holder.
yeah.
You know, those of us that weren't born in the 1850s call that the Billy Joel thing.
Oh really?
30 years after you, the Piano Man.
But then you spun it around. He spun it around, and on the back part there was a giant mustache, and he spun it around, and that went right here.
Yeah.
And we're already plotting this.
Yeah, we got.
Thanksgiving. We're
I
already
put
selecting
in a
material.
request for a bit for Thanksgiving 2021. We didn't. There was no Thanksgiving celebration at the King Sills household for 2020, but
Why not?
2021. I might have been out of town or something. I don't know what.
Or we were all dying.
Oh yeah, we were. And,
One of those.
but 2021 going to be fantastic. The biggest one ever, and people are already. I mean, I got flight reservations from friends from out of town who are coming in, so it's exciting.
Cool. So I have a question, and I want you guys to compare notes. When do you think you first met Jeff Mcbride? And then let's see what he says, because he might think you're wrong.
Jeff, can you write it down? So we know
Just tear the center out.
I think I remember.
Here's my recollection. The IBM in Norfolk.
That was it. That was where I met Lance in person too. That's
Magic
absolutely-
convention for the
And I believe we had dinner together there.
So that's how you
I
remember
believe.
it, because you met Lance and Mac was there as
Yeah,
well.
Mac-
No,
That's how my life has been all my life.
Yeah, meeting girls was the same way, right?
Yeah, correct.
Well, Lance is
All
taking
right,
it.
there's two women. Which one do you want?
Well, what if you guys had to pick? It's funny because there's no way that's a joke. That happened many times. What year was this IBM thing where you guys met? If you had to guess?
Here's what I remember from that. I was in the contest, and there was a comedy magic contest. Robert Bax won that contest. I didn't place in that contest, I believe.
But you came back with a vengeance.
You were so kind to me afterwards, and talking about how talking acts never win contests, and just so sweet.
Okay.
That is indeed where I met you, and yes, a little consoling talk after the. But you
Yeah, we
came
were
back-
talking about the rope trick and something, and he said, "I think you just fooled everybody," and I don't know. It was just really nice. I remember.
That is indeed where we met.
You think early 80s?
84.
almost
84.
certain.
Okay.
Norfolk,
Yeah.
Virginia, IBM.
It could have been 85 because it was in the summer,
Mhm.
and I got married in October of 85, so it was either 84 or 85.
The reason I ask is, Michael Goudeau, what year do you think you met Jeff Mcbride for the first time?
83?
Was it Ibis or Cafe Versailles?
Yeah, it was Cafe Versailles.
Well, I was there since '79,
Yeah.
working out at that club, $100 a week, 13 shows a week for $100.
Yeah.
So you guys,
Why would you ever quit?
Right? Who's booking that?
It was a serious mob club.
Yeah, so for the
Oh,
viewer at
yeah.
home,
Serious mob club.
you guys were both booked in a nightclub in New York.
Yeah.
It was owned by the mob.
Yeah.
Take
yeah.
it away.
Well, it was an Egyptian nightclub, and it was
In New York.
In New York, and owned by Italians.
Wait, it was called Cafe Versailles?
It was called Club Ibis.
Oh,
in
Club
Egypt
Ibis.
When I
Okay,
started
okay.
there.
Because I was going to say, you don't name an Egyptian nightclub Cafe Versailles.
But originally it was
When you're the mob, you can do whatever
Oh,
you
yeah.
want.
It was on 50th Street, and it was between 3rd and Lex, and it was originally the Versailles Room, which Edith Piaf worked, and Cantu, the magician, the Dove magician Cantu.
Yeah.
And then it fell into derelict mode, and then it was opened up as a disco, and then it turned into an Egyptian nightclub, and then they revamped it.
Yeah.
And they Miller Reich Productions, which was a
Yeah,
big.
Lenny Miller
Yeah.
still owes me money.
Yep.
You too, I'm sure.
They came in there and they turned it into, they restored it to its grandeur and were capitalizing on that, the Versailles. And I think it's still in existence. They
Right.
reopened it since then.
And they moved Club Ibis upstairs.
They moved Ibis upstairs and then eventually across town.
One of the really funny things that happened, there were a bunch of funny things happened. You invited Frank and I, said, I'm going to go upstairs and watch the belly dancers. Why don't you guys come on up with me? And we went up and sat at this table, and there was this amazing, exotic, incredibly
Were
beautiful.
there 3 women and you go,
No,
okay,
no.
Which one do you want?
This, dark hair, dark eyes, incredibly curvaceous, beautiful dancer. And we were like, oh my Lord. And she came over, she was friends with Jeff, and said, hi, how are you guys? It's so nice to meet you. And Frank and I looked at each other and went, to the dream that was. It's hysterical.
But you're like a New York kid.
Well,
Right.
upstate New York, and then I moved to Manhattan when I was 19. Yeah.
But you weren't living
No,
in
I was
Manhattan.
living in
How
a
did you and
hotel.
Frank get this job?
Miller Reach Productions. We had
What-
actually done a few of their
what-
different shows.
What hotel could you stay at if you were making $100 a week?
We were making more than $100 a week at that point. I don't know if
Yeah.
you were at that time.
Well, then I was, when I started, I was at $100 a week.
Yeah, no, we were up to, I don't know, like $1,200 for the act or something. It wasn't,
Really?
was not huge money, but
Dude.
it was. Dude, I know, and you were still closing.
I was like, yeah. They were paying me like $600.
Yeah, you got 600 each.
Yeah.
And your show at that time was so scary, and the mob guys just loved it. You did Miser's Dream with a
switchblade.
With a switchblade?
Well, I gave that to Lance.
Right.
The knife at the neck when he used to go.
Oh, for the card sword. For the
Oh,
card
yeah.
stab,
yeah.
I let go of that, but I was so aggressive because the one of the reasons I would spin the cards is because the people had their backs to the stage.
Yes,
And I
because
would throw the cards into their
Turn
food.
around, bitches!
they had their backs to the stage because they were worried someone would come in shooting.
Really?
Yes. So there was always one guy at the door facing the door, at least.
But I would scale the cards into the back of the people's heads to get them to turn around. It was such a blasé New York audience, and they're eating during the show.
Yeah.
And I said, if you're not going to like me, you are going to fear me. And I was so aggressive.
It was
I think
super
it was
scary.
from the Bronx Tale.
Oh.
It was really great. Really great show.
Yeah.
And you ended with a chicken and a duck band, which I thought was hysterical.
I did
Killed
the
me.
chicken for years.
Right, and I know why. Please tell them why. This is a great story.
Well, there's a couple reasons. One's because they wouldn't let me keep it at home, so it's the only place I could keep
Yeah, it was
it.
your
That was it, right there. They couldn't keep the pet in his apartment.
So
It was his pet chicken.
What, the thing stinks.
It's his pet chicken.
It was his pet chicken, and he wanted to keep it. So
The dressing rooms are the size of a shoe.
The reason.
All the dancers and all the guys and all the girls were in a dressing room this size. It's a fire trap. And there's Jeff and a chicken and all of us.
And I did the chicken for years because it got a great reaction. And I got the chicken because I couldn't get a duck because I couldn't find a duck. The ducks are much bigger, as we know. They get a great
And
reaction.
even nastier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ducks are
smellier.
nasty.
And more aggressive. Fear my duck.
Did you ever use a duck?
Oh.
Okay.
But they're big and they get it. And Fantasio talked me out of it. He said, you don't want a bird in your show. When you travel internationally, you want to be able to just go out with the people after the show. You don't want to be like carrying a cage
Gotta go
around,
back to the
taking
hotel
care of
with
your
the duck.
birds. And I said, Fantasio, it gets the biggest applause in my show. And he goes, you're right. And guess what? they're applauding for the duck, not you. And the light went on, and the duck went out, and then I could hang out after the show.
Yeah.
So later when you edit this, can you put in me saying chicken when he says duck?
Yes. I can do anything you want. I know his intro from World's Greatest Magic too.
Can you make you
Wait.
funny?
What?
Jacob said he can do anything you want. Can you make you funny?
Oh. Go on. Yes, and
So wait. Oh, you said World's Greatest Magic 2, which is the one you already did. I thought that was another one that you...
no, the only person that was on all 5 of them is you, and I don't remember any of those intros.
Okay.
Come on, you set that up.
No, I didn't, but I guess I did. So
That was a great run, by the way. That was a really fun time.
How long were you guys
in
there
all of our
together?
lives?
I remember walking across town after the show with you and Frank marching you up a wall and doing the backflip stuff. It was like, wow.
We were nuts at that
Yeah,
time.
it was really
We were also going to the Museum of Broadcasting during the day and
To
seeing
watch
your
Cardini.
shows and Cardini and
We should explain
fantastic.
before there was YouTube.
Before
there was a
video.
museum
Before
where
there
you
was
could go
video.
watch.
If you wanted to see archived stuff that wasn't getting replayed, you had to go to the Museum of Broadcasting.
Right, and see kinescopes. What they
Yeah.
called kinescopes.
And they would bring, the people would come there with white gloves and bring them museum archive. You would sit at the booth. They would put them in. You weren't allowed to touch them. And we would sit there and watch Cardini all day long. I think I'm the only kid in town that fast forwarded. I said, could you fast forward through the Beatles to get to Fred Capps doing the homing cards?
Hey folks, I just wanted to give a bit of context for the magician that we're discussing right now, Fred Capps. Fred was a brilliant Dutch magician born in the 1920s, whose heyday was in the 50s and 60s. He performed on a bunch of variety shows and television shows. He was a brilliant inventor and performer and a lovely guy, and he had the distinct honor of performing, I believe, for the largest television audience of any magician in history at that point. He performed on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1964, the same episode as the Beatles' first American television appearance. So there were about 75 million people watching, and they had Mr. Capps go on after the Beatles. So he also had one of the fastest dwindling audiences on television in history. Poor Fred had a brilliant act with a trick where salt kept pouring out of his hand, and a wonderful card trick, and I don't think anybody gave a shit. History has somewhat changed that. Magicians certainly recognized the brilliance of that performance at the time, and people do now when they watch it. But poor Fred had, I believe, everybody shutting off their television sets just because they were there to see the Beatles, and then the Beatles were done. Famously one of the hardest gigs in history. So that's who we're talking about, the wonderful Fred Capps. Back to the show.
Wow. So you said that they would tell you mob stuff sometimes, like, hey, see those guys?
They would warn us before a show. They would say, don't do any jokes about guns tonight, okay? we don't normally do gun jokes, but now that you've said it, we have to.
Right.
You can't say that to a comic. Now you're standing on stage and we're drilling these 6 guns. I mean to say guns, right?
Did I say guns? I meant knives. Dudes, we brought a gun to a knife fight.
It was all stressful.
I wish I could remember this comic. Maybe you guys will remember. There was an English comic. I don't think it was Jerry Sadowitz. I think Jerry is the one who told me this. He was doing a show in a church. And they said, obviously, they were like in the sanctuary. It's Catholic, I guess, what do you call it? What's a Catholic church called?
A church.
No, something else though.
Sanctuary.
Okay. So anyway, he's doing the show in the sanctuary, and there's and they said, please, go easy. No religious jokes. We don't want to be controversial. And you probably heard about the parking lot has had some issues. There's people having stereos stolen out of the parking lot. Please do not talk about people getting stuff stolen. No worries. He comes out and he looks at the crucifix Jesus hanging there, and he says, I see you caught the bloke that stole the stereo.
Oh.
He laughed.
Well, the only thing that I do deliberately is if they say, the booker says, or the one of the party will say, use this guy. Use this guy.
Yeah.
Don't use that guy.
Don't
Never
use
use
that
that
guy.
guy.
Don't.
Yeah. I thought that was him. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I actually address that. If somebody says that to me, use that guy. And I said, I will do everything I can to use that guy, but I reserve the right to make the final decision depending on what happens prior to using him. Just because.
Yeah, then afterwards you can say, well, this person was laughing and they looked like they were going to be great.
Yeah. Or that guy. Did you see he was at the bathroom when I started? Yeah. Do you? What's the most awful thing that's ever happened to you?
Getting this in early.
Oh.
You have Hellgate Stories for us?
Wow. I mean, I have, well, which one do we want?
Oh.
They both in
Well, you can tell. We have time for two.
Yeah.
blood.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
great. Hey.
Well, okay, here's one. I'm in my KISS days, and I'm doing this trick at the end of my show, which I think is fabulous, that I learned from Scalzo, the magician. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy, Scalzo. He looked like Dracula in a white tuxedo, and he had this gigantic Italian wife, and they used to do a dove act, and I saw this thing, and I thought it was so great. I would take a mouth coil, and at the end of the mouth coil, I would pretend I cut it off, and I would wrap it up and put it in a crystal silk cylinder. Now I'm in my KISS face, so I got these giant boots and the makeup.
Yeah, white face.
Yeah, the whole thing. And I'm like sneering at the audience. And I put the tube over, and it changes to a rice silk rainbow handkerchief, a Ricky Dunn dove streamer. I produce the dove and then put the dove in the little Abbott's dove van thing, and then pick up the paper bag, blow up the paper bag, put the dove in the paper bag, twist it up, blow up the bag, and pop it, and feathers come out. That's how I did it every night. Until I'm on stage, and I guess I get distracted. There's some cute girls that Lance hasn't taken. And I'm pulling out the mouth coil, and I, for some reason, you know those Fisker scissors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they were the Mondials of the day.
Yeah.
And I
Really sharp.
And I go to cut the mouth coil, pretending I cut the
Oh my
entire
God.
inside of the lip off. But the audience does not know this. And I go, I'm looking at the scissor, I can't see the piece. And I said, and you know, guys, when you're shaving, how you check yourself? So I'm like, got mouth coil, and I turn and I'm like, oh, this is bad. But it's my last trick. And I take the mouth coil, which is all different colors, and I put it in the clear tube, and I put the crystal silk cylinder, and I pull it up, and now I got the dove. I'm in the home stretch, Ricky Dunn dove streamer. Here's the bird. My mouth is filling up with blood. And I put it in, and now, just not to give anything away, but I pick up the dove, and I put it in the top of the bag. And now I have to blow up the bag. Now the dove is completely safe, but I realized I did put a lot of feathers in here. 'Cause that's the touch. So I'm like, oh, such relief. Because my mouth had been filling up with blood, and now I just blow it into the bag. And I wipe my mouth off. And there's only one thing to do. Boom! Blood everywhere. Feathers, mothers screaming, children crying. Blood is, I'm like,
who was the audience? What audience?
It was a county fair. On an outdoor stage. And Ozzy hadn't even bit the bat yet. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy. And now I have to introduce, thank you very much. That was my show. Please welcome Paul Lacrosse, sharpshooter and knife thrower.
That's a true Gene Simmons moment, right? He would have the white face.
I had the whole thing on.
Yeah,
and some people thought it was part of the show.
Of course.
Absolutely thought it was part of the show. They thought it was Alice Cooper doing it.
Genius.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
Did you get any weird booking requests after that?
No, but I never took those scissors anywhere near. I mean, that was bad.
Oof.
Yep. So who else has cut themselves
I'm hurt
on
right
stage?
now.
All of us have. Yeah.
You also haven't told that story here, but we do all know it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
What's the other one? You have two involving blood.
Oh, I want to hear some of yours.
Ah.
Is it all about my fails?
Yes, it's all about your. That wasn't a fail. That's
I got through. I
complete
did get through it.
success.
I did.
Goudeau, what's your? I don't think we've ever done an audience fail, or not an audience fail, but what's your Hellgate?
There have been, like Jeff says, it's
Yeah.
unlimited.
You've done
Do you have
15,000
any-
shows.
what about with blood?
With blood, you want blood specifically?
This
Okay,
is
let's go with
this will
blood.
be a blood episode.
This is blood.
Is it your blood or other people's blood? Because I have other people's
I've done
blood.
both as well.
His blood story, and then your second blood story.
All right. I got
I
another
don't have
story.
anybody else's blood. I got other people's urine, but that's
Wow.
Okay.
No,
We just filled up the rest of the hour. I think.
Wait for the urine episode. Next week.
For a long time, I did a trick where I did an impersonation of King Kong juggling.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a gorilla head with a string and an airplane on it. I can put it on, get the airplane spinning, and then juggle Barbies.
Well, that's funny. Are you still doing that? I'd like to see.
It's for sale. So I'm doing it, and then I finish the bit, and I take off the mask, and an airplane swings around and hits me right between the eyes, and blood runs right down. Stupid. I juggle knives, chainsaws.
Yeah.
My biggest blood injury was from a paper
Model
Yeah.
airplane.
Clumsy.
And I was gonna say, it's really sad that I wasn't there. I guess it was the airplane that got him. No, it was stupidity that killed the juggler. What's your other people's blood?
Okay.
And then urine.
What was it? Landfield Avenue Synagogue, bar mitzvah for Richard Rankin, 1973.
Wow. I don't know dates
Richard
or
Rankin
names.
was the kid?
Richard Rankin was the kid that invited me,
Yeah.
this little
Yeah.
boy from upstate New York.
Half of this panel was not alive.
All right.
Wait, how old? What year was it?
73.
Oh,
He would have
okay.
been 13.
73.
The kid?
Yeah,
Probably 13. but so would Jeff.
Right. And I'm doing now, a lot of my magic was made up from ads that I would read in the magic magazine, in the magic catalogs, like Top Hat Magic Company, Evanston, Illinois. And I would read and I would try to make it up. And one of them was the Don Allen water on the head gag with the card that you shouldn't remove. What happens, it says, hysterical, everybody loves this. The magician fills a can full of water, puts a piece of paper on it, inverts it on someone's head, and then pulls out the instructions to read them, and then it says, you should not.
Do not remove card.
And then picks it up and the water's gone. Well, I had a little food can, and I figured I could do this because I had just bought for $2 from my friend Bobby Berman in 7th grade this joke faucet, which was a plastic faucet that was metal plastic with a suction cup on it that you would secretly fill with water and had one of those little squirt gun little corks.
Yeah, sure.
And then you could stick it on the wall and pour phony beer or water. It was a tap that you could use anywhere. And I went, oh, this is so great. So I get a kid up because can't practice this on anybody, so I have to practice on a kid. So I get this really cute kid, who I don't know, like a young kid, up on stage, and I do remember putting the water in the can and the card on the kids.
Everybody here is doing the same thing, right? Our brains are racing. How are you going to cut this child?
So now I pull it off and I lift up the thing, and the funny joke back then, which you couldn't do now, was like, oh, you must have water on the brain. Let me help. Right? Big joke back then, right?
Yeah.
So I get the faucet and I stick the faucet on the kid's forehead. Right? Which would you do this?
Sure.
Of course.
In
Still,
73,
I believe,
yes.
I mean, in the magic shop where I work, we sold those, and I believe the packaging has it stuck on somebody's head.
But maybe where I got the idea.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I mean, but me, yeah. So that's just
such a
something
good
you would
idea.
do.
So the kid's there and I open it up and I have a clear little cup and the water's going in and everybody's having a great time laughing. Bit over. Success. I'm killing at Landfield Avenue Synagogue. And now I go to take it off, and the kid goes, "Oh, my stitches! My stitches! My stitches!"
Oh, no.
And I picked the one kid with a little beetle haircut that had Frankenstein stitches.
Oh my God.
Who knows what procedure this kid had?
He was already doing hair implants
And
at that age?
This was straight across his head, Frankenstein stitches. Well, they were, and now it was just like and the blood, and as my career ran down the face of this kid.
Oh my God! How much more time did you have to do in the show after that?
I think that's my time.
Yeah. I'm gonna get on a plane and move to another country. Oh.
So who else has a?
You said
someone else's blood story. Who else drew blood? Who else drew blood?
Only mine.
You never drawn blood?
Only mine.
Oh, what did you? Wow.
I was on a ship, and I had never worked on a stage that had LED walls, so they had been raised up for the show. It was a production show. So there was a corner that was right at the edge. So like it's the end of my show, and I shoot the streamer cannon with the roses. I'm wearing a crown, looking like an asshole, and I run off stage and immediately snap my glasses in half. But it was right at the edge of the legs. So I was still on stage. So they see me like run over to the music, break my glasses, bleed, and then like slink off the last 2 feet. But I'm okay.
Yeah. Your character's on stage is a bit of a nerd loser, right?
Right. And
So-
then
so
at the
it's-
end, they all can either get autographs or just push me into a locker.
It seems like it fits. I was doing a street show here in Vegas once, but it was much too hot to be doing a street show here in Vegas. And you know when you see somebody doing something in the audience out of your periphery and your knee jerk is to respond to it and do a joke before you've really seen what's going on? I thought a girl had started dancing, which had happened in previous shows.
But she was epileptic.
No.
Tourette's.
No. So I said, hey, it's my show. And her parents said, she's having a heat stroke. Because it was like 110. Yeah. So she had fainted and fallen back, and they had caught her. And there's no ending to this story. I just stopped the show and gave her cold water. And I'm an asshole. But that's a story of me.
You at least gave her water.
That's me doing a heckler put down
You
to a
could've
12-year-old.
You should have gone, okay, me next. This is a
Trust
thing.
ball. Yeah.
So that's the biggest mouth foot story that I'm willing to share.
Hey, thank you so much for watching part 1 of our interview with Jeff Mcbride, and tune in next week for more of Jeff performing some magic tricks and an incredible Diana Ross story. All right, we're going to close out as we do every week with a quote from my pal George Clinton. It's always good to have just a little love around. So put love in your life. Put love in your life. Put a little love in your life. Speaking of which, I'll see you next week. I love you all. I'm Matt King.